Arizona gets out-hustled against Texas Tech. What does this mean going forward?
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. Your show, first thing every single day. Check it out. All right, now, Arizona just loses to Texas Tech. And honestly, I'm okay with that they lost. Honestly, I kind of thought they were going to lose. Generally, when you're a 4.5 point underdog, you are probably going to lose that game on the road. It was a tough place. And I give Arizona some credit because at the same time, they were also able to stay in the game when they weren't playing well. And then when I say they weren't playing well, they weren't playing well. Nobody was playing well. But there are obviously some real concerns here. First of all, Arizona was out hustled. Arizona was kind of pushed around. Arizona was just not in a good spot, and it goes across the board. But the stat that I think really, you just kind of come back to, and that just really was kind of unacceptable was that Arizona. You look at their rebounding numbers, and you got out rebounded 40-26. That just can't happen. And not only were you out rebounded 40-26, you've got players that I think at this stage in the game are just, I don't know how they're playing. I don't know how they're playing the minutes that they are getting, but for some reason they are playing way too many minutes. And the first one that we need to talk about is Trey Townsend. Listen, I understand I understand the whole process about you want to be able to count on somebody at the end. You want to be able to show them that, hey, coach is with you through thick and thin. That's all fantastic. That's great. I get it. But it's sooner or later, if you're just not good, you're just not good. Trey Townsend's just not good. Trey Townsend is bad. He does not rebound. He does not give effort. He cannot score around the hoop. I'm not sure exactly what he does. And the thing about it too is he doesn't play hard and he doesn't defend. I've asked, and Shears asked this before too. Is there anything out there that Trey Townsend does well? And I don't know that I can't think of anything, or that he even does okay. I can't think of anything. Maybe there is, but I certainly can't. Maybe you guys are all smarter than me. Maybe there is something, but the there's no way to really put it there. And teams go at him. He's terrible. He's just a bad He's just bad at this level. And my biggest problem too is that he just doesn't try hard. The other thing too, why in the world is Carter Bryant not getting more minutes for Arizona? That makes no sense as well. He is listen, he's far from perfect. Defensively, he's got some issues. He can get beat. I get all of that. But at the same time, he can block shots. He can rebound and he can score. He can do a lot of things that Trey Townsend could never dream of doing, but somehow if Carter makes a mistake, Carter is taken out almost immediately. Whereas with Trey Townsend's going to get 25 minutes per. And like I said, I like Tommy Lloyd. We need to be clear about something. I think Tommy Lloyd's a good coach. I want Tommy Lloyd to be here for a very, very long time. But at the same time, I think you've also got to start wondering, are minutes just basically promised to people? Because that's kind of where I'm kind of at with this. Why else would Trey Townsend be playing the minutes that he's getting? Not only that, why does it seem that you just can't take him out under any circumstances? And that's basically where it's at. I don't get it. And if minutes are promised, I think that's a big problem for Tommy Lloyd and the staff, because minutes should never be promised to anybody, especially to a guy that's just not very good. And you saw this last year too with Kylan Boswell. With Kylan Boswell, you knew that he was going to play no matter what. And it came back to bite Arizona. He was awful in the NCAA tournament, and he was just not somebody that you could rely on. With Trey Townsend, I think that's somewhat of the concern as well, is that he's just not somebody that you can necessarily rely on. And if you can't rely on somebody, then I don't know what you're doing, especially when you've got somebody that's far more talented in the far more talented. But this team just got beat up this team just got beat up in the front court, and there's really no other way around it. This team just got beat up on the front court. So there is that. Now, we are going to talk in a second, Caleb Love. What is Caleb Love doing here? And as Caleb Love kind of checked out, because there's definitely some real concerns about that. But first, FanDuel. All right, you all know the drill here. Here's the deal. FanDuel, from the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Here's the deal. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make the playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Great thing about FanDuel as well is that you can bet during the NBA season, you can bet during college basketball, you got college football still here, and you've got the NFL, as I said. Lots of good stuff with FanDuel, and this is the time of the year. You might be watching the game and you're like, you know what? I think those bookies are I think they're a little bit behind on this one. And then you hop in there, you bet in game. FanDuel will take it from there. Again, go to FanDuel and check it out because this is the best time of the year and it makes the game even more enjoyable. Check it out, FanDuel. And again, like I said, if you want to bet against ASU, make a little bit of money in the process. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, remember the thing about FanDuel, or excuse me, about Locked On as well is you also know that also need to understand that this is your first listen of the day. But there's like I said, your first listen of the day. Check it out. Okay. Now, let's your team every day as well. Now, let's talk a little bit about where Arizona is with Caleb Love. Caleb Love is Arizona needed Caleb Love to be really, really good. Caleb Love has been terrible. Caleb Love has there's been a few games here or there where he's been good, but overall, this is not what you paid for. And at the end of that game, you could just kind of tell that he was like, you know what, I'm going to shoot whatever I want, and I don't really care. And that's exactly what you saw. And that's something that just can't happen. That just can't happen. And it did. And I don't think that he really, at this stage, you just kind of wonder, is he collecting a check? Because even when he drives to the hoop, these are basically prayers. And these, when I say driving to the hoop, I'm saying that I'm giving him a lot of credit because he's not really driving to the hoop. The little runners that he's praying are going in, they ain't going in. And I don't think anybody watches those and says that he thinks that those shots are going in. That's the problem. Listen, I think at this stage in the game, you've got to figure out, and you just basically have to know that you're probably not going to be able to count on Caleb Love. Last year, he was an All-American, and and there were ups and downs. There were games where he'd be 3 of 15, but there were also games when he would drop 35 points. That just doesn't seem to be happening. If he has a good game, he's kind of those good games are few and far between, and not only there's the few and far between, it's also a situation too where I think you just watch him and you're like, this just isn't good. And if he doesn't play well, KJ Lewis doesn't play well, they're not going to win a lot of games. And KJ Lewis did not play well, but I'm actually okay with KJ Lewis and how he's performed this season, or at least of late. He had a bad game, but overall, I'm okay with how KJ's performed. But Caleb's been terrible. There's no way around it. And I don't know that Tommy Lloyd's got any answers for him. He basically just let him do whatever he wanted in that game. And I think with Tommy, the thing you worry about, like I said, and I love Tommy, but at the same time, I think you also worry a little bit about, is he going to, is Caleb going to get to the point where it just kind of is what it is, and he's just gonna, that he's just gonna shoot whatever he wants, and then he's done. I don't know, but you kind of feel that might be the case at this point. Arizona's going to have to play well around him. There's no doubt about it. I love Jaden Bradley. Jaden Bradley this was another game. Jaden Bradley doesn't necessarily really have bad games. I mean, even a game like yesterday, he's going to still finish with 11 points, couple steals, couple assists, no turnovers. Jaden Bradley's solid. I love Jaden Bradley. And if Arizona had more Jaden Bradleys, I think that they would be in a lot better shape. But they don't have more Jaden Bradleys. So what can you do to actually get through there? And what can you do to make it to the point where you know that Arizona's going to be in better shape? Now, you got Oklahoma State coming up here. And not only do you have Oklahoma State coming up here, this is absolutely a must win for the U of A. You've got to be able to beat Oklahoma State. And if you don't, well, there's going to be some concerns about that. What are the keys to beating Oklahoma State? Prizepicks, though. Got to get to Prizepicks first, my friends. Prizepicks. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONCollege and get $50 back instantly. This message is brought to you by Prizepicks, the place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions in winnings, Prizepicks has changed the game in daily fantasy sports. Whether it's the playoffs or the regular season, Prizepicks has made it easier than ever to win big while enjoying all the football action. Ready to run your game this football season? Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Wow. That's right. $50 for just playing. Don't wait. Take your game to the next level with Prizepicks. Prizepicks, run your game. And again, this is also a very good time to get on Prizepicks as well. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day, your team every day. Okay, now, Arizona, going forward, you got to beat Oklahoma State and you got to beat Colorado. No ifs, ands, or buts. Oklahoma State stinks. Listen, they're a bad basketball team. Arizona, basically everybody played poorly against Texas Tech. Arizona's got to play better across the board. You just got to have a better performance from basically everybody on that team. And it starts up front. You can't get bullied. Now listen, Trey Townsend's going to get bullied. He's not going to get any rebounds. He's just going to stand there. But Tobe Awaka, Henri Veesaar, you've got to be able to get more from them than what you got last game. Although Tobe Awaka, I can't really blame at all. Tobe Awaka was more than fine. But Henri Veesaar kind of got pushed around, which also leads me to another thing. I don't understand why guys like Henri have such a short leash, but then there's people like Trey that can do whatever basically they want. Henri had a short leash. Carter has a short leash. You can't. But either way, up front, you've got to be able to take care of business. I'm at the point now where I'm not counting on anything from Caleb Love. It's just going to be what it is. We'll find out. KJ Lewis, though, I need you to play better. I need you to be a better initiator of the offense. I think he can do that. He's shown that. Same thing with a guy like Carter Bryant. Carter offensively is very, very good. I need you to continue to get that going. And ADO, can this be an ADO game? There's going to be some games where ADO, it's just not an ADO game. There's going to be other games where it can be an ADO game. This is a game that I think could be an ADO game, and I think the Colorado game can be one. Listen, you got to get these two wins because then you've got Iowa State coming into McHale. That's going to be a very, very tough game, and then you start playing some really, really good teams. You've got to be able to get these. You got to be able to get these easy wins when you can. Tech, I'm okay with losing to Tech. Tech is tough. That's a solid team in a really tough environment, and again, it's a solid team. But watching Arizona against teams that you should take care of business of, you need to take care of business of. You need to be able to beat Oklahoma State, and you need to beat Colorado because, quite frankly, they are just not very good. And we're going to so tomorrow, though, we are going to preview that. We are going to preview where Arizona is when it comes to Oklahoma State, what the matchups are to watch. We're going to talk about that, obviously. We are also going to talk about Seth Dagey. What should you expect from the Arizona offense this year? Because, again, remember, we are a football school as well. But, again, disappointing performance from the Cats, but You just gotta pick them up and go straight from there after that. But as always, appreciate you making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day, your team every day. We will be back with you tomorrow, TTFN.